Well, hello everybody. Here we are in Computer Fundamentals, and you can see that this is the last week of the class. So it's week 9, which is March 11th through 15th. And before I jump into that, just want to remind you of a couple of things. The passing plan. So here's some information about passing plan. You can see you need 595 points to pass. An A minus is 895 or more. A B would be 795 or more. A C would be 695 or more. I have a passing plan posted here. So if I move down, right here's a passing plan, so you can open that up. I've showed that in other recordings, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. But you need to get those points in order to pass. Now, speaking of that, let's look at this section up here. So I want to cover some of this. So final week of the course, everything to be turned in by Friday, March 15th at midnight. I suggest you turn this stuff in by Wednesday in case you need to revise. Anything I get like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll get back to you if you need to revise. Anything after Wednesday, you cannot revise. So again, on the points, there's what you need. Now, if all you want to do is pass, don't do any more work than 595. I mean, get 595 and then be done with it. Go do other classes. Don't waste your time getting to 635 or 645 because that's still a D. Spend that time in other classes if you need to work on those. And remember, you may not get 100% on all your work. So let's say you have like 395 right now. So you need 200 more points. Don't turn in just 200 because you may not get 100% on that. Turn in maybe 250. That way you have some extra to fall back on just in case. All right, the work for the week. So let's take a look. Class Connect Write-Up, of course, as always. And this is week 4 Class Connect Write-Up. I'll fix that. In fact, I'll go ahead and quickly fix that before I forget. And as I'm doing this, just some things to think about as you're wrapping up your courses. If you're close to passing any of your courses, then just do a little bit of work to get that done, and then move on to other classes. Don't waste a lot of time getting a class that you're passing into another grade unless it's a core class. The most important thing is to pass whatever classes you have. And core classes, the core classes like English, math, social studies, science, those are probably more important than electives. All right, moving back to this. So for this week, the week 9 Class Connect Write-Up you'll do, and then you're looking at Unit 10 work. And you can see in Unit 10 work, on this one, the assignment says it's discussion, but it's not. You're going to submit it in the Dropbox, assignment 2 in the Dropbox, assignment 3 in the Dropbox, so a little bit of information there. And this is all about different types of operating systems, citing sources, things like that, and then finally ethical computer use, etc. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the unit. So right down here we're in the unit called the system. And in this unit, you'll see that a lot of it's going to talk about Windows XP because that's what most of the computers have, although Windows 7, I mean this course is a little bit old. Windows 7 might be if you have an Insight computer, but still lots of these things are similar, aren't they? And we'll go into section 2, and of course before we do this, we want to look at the write-up. So if I look at the write-up, whoops, I didn't do the write-up yet. Didn't add it in. So let me, actually I can add it in really quickly here. So there's the write-up. I had it done, but I hadn't integrated into the class yet. Let's go back to the class. Okay, the write-up. So in section 2, what is Unix known for? Since Unix is free, what has that resulted in? So we want to remember those things. So this is going to talk about different operating systems. And of course, Windows is the one that most of you use, but there's Mac, Linux, and others. And the operating systems is what makes the computer work. It's the thinking part of the computer, the brains practically. So we're going to look at different operating systems, compare and contrast different operating systems. So Unix was developed by scientists back in 1969, and over time universities and companies, they developed their own versions of Unix. And it's best known in academic circles, very popular at universities. So that's the answer to question number one. So it's best known in academic circles and very popular at universities because it's free to use and it's real easy to adjust, to refine for your own use. You can see there's some information here about how Linux is useful, but the thing about Linux is it uses from an operations line, from a command line, it doesn't have a graphic user interface, so it's not like a mouse or arrow or anything like that. Now the thing about Linux is that it's free to use, so it's used on lots of computers, and since it's free to use, it's extremely popular in academic, business, and home environments. Extremely popular in these types of settings. So if we go back to our Class Connect write-up, you see we answered the first one, what Linux is known for, and the second one, it resulted in the fact that it was popular. This was the result of it being free right here. Then of course there's the Mac operating system, and some of you know that. Mac started, they were the first one that had the graphic user interface, and then Windows came along. So we're talking about Mac and Unix, and of course compares it to Windows. Okay, moving on to section 3. So in section 3, now we're going to talk about searching, citing sources and things like that. So to go to section 3, the concepts of searching on computers and the internet, how drastic technology has changed our lives. So let's go to the write-up. Explain what a web search engine is. List and explain the 3 steps a web search engine goes through. So this talks about how computers can be used for searching. So not only can you search on your own computer for different information, but obviously you can go online. Now some computers will search just your own computer, or they could search a set of computers, like if you're in a network, or they could search the whole internet. So you can see, so a search engine is designed to search for data. So this would just be a general search engine, but then there's the web search engine. That's what that Class Connect write-up question asks. That search engine that searches far and wide across the whole World Wide Web. So Google is a web search engine. Now some of the first the searches, Archie was the first one, and that was over file transfer protocol that very few people use anymore. The first web search engine was called Wandex, and then WebCrawler was a search engine. It would search for words, full text searches. Then Lycos was one. AOL came across, had one. Netscape was a popular search engine. Yahoo, of course, many people use that, and then Google. But you can see down here the search engine market. Of course, now Microsoft has Bing, doesn't it? And Bing is growing in comparison to some of these. So how search engines work? They have 3 steps. They crawl the web, they index the results, and they have to search the results. So what I want you to do on that Class Connect write-up question, if we go back to it, it says, and this is for answers for 4, 5, and 6, list and explain all 3. So web crawling, that's the first thing. So read through here and tell me what web crawling is. Then you go down here, read through here, and tell me what indexing is. So indexing is where they want to take the data and they put it in a certain order so it can be searched more quickly. Then finally, searching is once they have that data in a particular order, then it takes the request from the user and produces a list of results. So when you do a search, the data you search for has already been indexed. It's already been put in categories, and your search just goes and gets it. So that's what Google does with all the pieces of equipment they have around the country that house information. It's already stored there, but when you do a search, it just goes and gets it. So that's questions 4, 5, and 6 on those 3 items. Now, ethical uses of the internet and things like that. Did you know that, like in Google, you have the things at the top in the orange when you do a search, or the ones on the right? Those are called pay for placement. Companies pay money to get their stuff placed in certain areas. Is that ethical or not? Well, that's why many things on the internet are free, because companies can make money through this advertising. So this talks about Google, and you can see that what Google has, they have what's called a server farm. Over 500,000 PCs that run all their searches, and they run Linux, which is sort of like Unix, like an operating system. But the thing about Google, they have all these computers all around the world on these things called server farms, and that is what processes all the information that we search for. Now, there are different types of searches, like social search. So social search would use information from trusted people to find the information. So there are different types of searches that happen. So in the summary of this session, talked about searches, discussed challenges in web searching. And here's the assignment. So in this assignment, this says discussion topic, but it's not a discussion. You'll put this in the text of the Dropbox. So in this one, you're going to talk about web searching and advertising. So you're going to write about how advertising on the web affects search results and the ethical dilemma or the ethical problem with that. So you click right here to see the assignment sheet. There's the assignment sheet. Okay. Back to the course. So this you're going to put into the Dropbox. So talk about it. Advertising and searching. Okay, section 4. Let's go to the Class Connect write-up. So we had done that one, good. Okay, back in the Class Connect write-up, section 4. What is a driver, and list 3 possible drivers a computer may have? Explain the usefulness of the Task Manager in Windows. Very easy. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Windows. Of course, Windows, there's some problems with Windows computers sometimes. So identify common problems with Windows and how to solve common problems. I want to go back to this. If you don't know what this picture is, it's a picture of a bunch of burnt marshmallows. Looks like a keyboard, and there's the space bar and things like. Or actually, I guess it looks like marshmallows. Maybe it is an actual keyboard that caught on fire. Who knows? But it looks like marshmallows to me. But anyway, it's keys on fire. Hey, bugs. So bugs are a flaw in a program. So you can have a flaw in a program like this had a flaw in program for electrical company, and there's a huge power outage because there was some problems wrong in the circuitry. So sometimes you can have bugs in a program. And the word bug was first used maybe in 1878 when Thomas Edison had a problem with an experiment he was doing with some equipment. Of course, he didn't use computers, but in World War II, operators found an error in a computer. There was a moth trapped in it, and it shorted out the computer. So that might have been where bugs started. So common types of bugs with math: division by 0. You can't divide by 0, obviously. A buffer overflow means that like there was too much information. Then a memory leak. So if there's a memory issue with your computer, then that bug can cause you errors. Crashes and hang-ups. You don't have that so much with computers anymore unless you're running too many applications. But sometimes back in the old days, computer would hang up, or it would hang like this, or it would crash. Well, if it crashed, that means it would shut down itself. If it would hang, then it would just get on a screen and you couldn't do anything. So then you have to turn it off and restart. Then there used to be something called the blue screen of death. You could ask your parents about this. And blue screen of death, you don't get this very much anymore, but it was always a bad issue because then you'd be working on something, doing word processing, and then you'd get the blue screen of death. Does not happen too much anymore. Device drivers. Device drivers are software that runs in the operating system, allows Windows to interface with particular devices. So on your computer, you have a device driver that makes the keyboard work, that makes an MP3 player work, makes a video card work, device driver that makes your printer work, etc. So That's the answer to that Class Connect write-up question. Now, if you're having trouble with your computer, like with your mouse working, you can go online, you can find new device drivers to download, or in Windows, you can have it update automatically, and it'll update drivers for you sometimes. Device Manager. So now we're looking at different parts of the computer. So you can see right here under this Device Manager tab, there's the PCI communications device. That might be their internet device that isn't working properly. Device Manager can tell you a lot if your computer's not working well. There's a little video that talks about how the Device Manager is helpful and how it can help you solve problems. So I'd suggest you go take a look at that. You can also roll back drivers to where the computer go back to a time when the driver worked properly. So please watch that video, even though there aren't any questions about it. Interrupt conflicts, we don't have that much anymore. They used to be really common bugs, but now computers are so sophisticated you really don't have those anymore. BSOD, blue screen of death. Sometimes you can have bugs like this, and what I do, if I have an error like something like this comes up, I'll take that error and I'll go into a search engine like Google and find out what that error means, and then I can do something about it. Video drivers. A lot of you might be concerned with this when you do gaming and such. So if I were you, I would go in and you can update your video driver. Don't do it on the inside computers, but on your personal computers. Then you get the latest video driver to make your your game system work a little bit better. Adding and removing programs. So watch this video to see how to do that. Task Manager. Task Manager runs within Windows and it tells what's going on in your system. So I'm going to go to I'm going to hit Control-Alt-Delete on my keyboard. Oh, actually, you're not going to be able to see. Yeah, you can. I think you can see it. So here's Task Manager on mine. See, everything's running okay, but sometimes you can see something over here that says not running, so I could click on it and hit End Task. In fact, I'll go ahead and end task on my Outlook Mail. So I highlight it, click End Task. Now that ended task. So Task Manager is very useful. And here's an example of Task Manager. So you can see it shows you what's running and what's not running very well. Then another part of Task Manager, under the Processes tab, it tells you how much memory things are taking up. So check this out. So if your computer is running really slow, like this Photoshop sample, it's taking lots of memory. So what I do sometimes, I'll go into the Processes tab on Task Manager, hit Mem Usage, and then it'll put the most memory use, it'll put them from greatest to least, and then I might delete some of the things that I have running if they're using up lots of memory. That doesn't delete the program, it just shuts it down. Okay, running in safe mode. Safe mode is useful because you can uninstall devices, reinstall devices, etc. So here's the summary. We looked at crashes and hangs, other bugs, adding and removing programs, all that stuff. Okay, this assignment. So what they're going to want you to do is reboot your computer, go to Task Manager, Processes tab, and just see how much memory your computer is using. Then you start a YouTube video and see how much it's using. So you're going to mess with that a little bit. And you're going to write one paragraph about what you found doing that. Then device driver search. So go into your computer, try to find the device driver. And then you're going to send that. So send those two things in the Dropbox, just as text in the Dropbox. Let's go back to the Class Connect write-up. See if we answered all those questions. Device drivers we did, and the usefulness of Task Manager. Talked about that, didn't I? All right, now we're into Section 5. In Section 5, ethical use of computers, meaning appropriate use of computers. So we're looking at social issues with computers, internet safety, and finally information security, a little bit of that. We've done some of this before. Now copyright, that's Class Connect write-up question. It's a legal concept, gives the creator, author of the original work the ownership. And copyright has to do with what's called intellectual property, which is creation of the mind. And actually this is the answer that I want down here. So it's the creations of the mind, like art, music, symbols, etc. Those can be copyrighted. Privacy or piracy. Piracy is huge. I saw some on TV the other day that China makes billions and billions of dollars by taking software that are created by companies, Microsoft and others, or video game companies, and pirating those, making pirated copies, and then selling them on the black market for $5 for a video game that would normally sell for $50. That's really not a good thing. Now, Microsoft, a long time ago, had a big issue where they were, people were copying Microsoft software, putting it on more than one machine and all that. So Microsoft sued company in different things. But piracy is a huge thing. It's stealing is what it is. When you use somebody else's software, that's stealing. The licenses agreement, so you need to make sure you read license agreement. Can one person use it at the same time, more than one? Can it be installed on more computers, etc.? So you want to follow license agreements. That's one reason it's so nice these days. We're getting so much free software, right? You don't have to worry about license agreements. Commercial use, non-commercial. So non-commercial software is stuff that can be used for schools, education, things like that, but some people use them in businesses, which is not proper. Copy protection. Copy protection is so a CD cannot be copied, or a DVD. And of course what happens is often you get a really long key of letters and numbers that you have to use to install the software, so it can only be used once. So pirated software can't easily be used. This talks about software protection. You can see how companies would start doing it, particularly game companies like LucasArts. So you watch the pirates using your wheel, then enter the code that showed up. So you would actually, in this one, you would start the game, and then you had to enter a certain code as you started into the game. Today, copy protection. A lot of DVDs just can't be copied very well. Of course, like right here, Nintendo and Wii, they have barcode readers that check the barcode of the DVD so they can't be duplicated. So there are many ways that companies using technology to copy protect information. Digital rights is called digital rights management, and a lot of companies do this. iTunes has lots of digital rights. A song purchased downloaded from iTunes must be authorized. So you have to buy those things. So that's really important to stick to these rules. Because the one thing about that, let's say you download a piece of music and it costs you $1.99. The artist, the singer who sang that, Justin Bieber or whoever, out of that $1.99 for that piece of music, he might make 10 cents. But if he sells 1 million of those, think of the money that he makes. But if you give an illegal copy of that music to somebody else, then instead of Justin Bieber's company getting $1.99 2 times, they still only get the $1.99 1 time. So you're really taking money out of a person's pocket. Peer-to-peer filings or sharing systems where people share files. A lot of that is illegal. Used to be you'd share just songs. Now people are sharing games. And a lot of times you can find illegal sites you can download somebody else's games. So in summary, we looked at software privacy and digital rights. So here's the assignment you're going to do. You're going to take a position on software piracy, file sharing, digital rights. You just put this into the Dropbox, so it's going to be a pretty simple assignment. It says 1-page essay, but I'd expect about 5 or 6 well-developed sentences, please. So you talk about software piracy and those types of issues. Let's go back to the write-up, make sure I addressed explain what copyright is. Yes, we looked at that. And then section 6, why some teachers may not want you to use Wikipedia for research. So now we're going into section 6. Section 6, finding more information. So let's look at this, explore methods to find information, how to gather, evaluate, and use information. So of course, if you need help with your computer, Microsoft has a really nicely integrated help system. You used to have manuals and such, but now you can just hit the question mark at the top right whenever you're in a Microsoft program. You can see this right here. Here's an example of it. Hit the question mark, then you can ask, and it'll go online and search for information through a hyperlink. Makes things really easy, doesn't it? So here's the result, a bunch of different questions here. You could click on one and see if it gives you the answer that you wanted. So the content tab, when you go to the help, then it organizes some of the help information for you to search through in Microsoft. Here's the help menu. So again, this was some help if you're using Excel. You can see the whole help menu. The index in your help menu in Microsoft applications, then you can go and look for keywords and then figure out what you might, if it'll solve your problem. Then when help doesn't have your answer, you can go to the Microsoft website. There are lots of templates there that you could use, how-to documents and things like that. And search engines. I often, how do I blank, 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 whatever I want to type in. A lot of people do that, so go to Google. So, how do I format dollar signs in Excel? Click, and I could find there might be a Microsoft site listed, or there might be a PDF file that somebody has created. So, it's really nice that there's so much help out there available. Wikipedia, free online encyclopedia. And the thing about Wikipedia, that's open source, meaning anybody can add content to it. Now that's the reason that your teachers may not let you use it, because some people doubt the accuracy of the information. That's what people thought about Wikipedia in the beginning, but what has happened now is that there's so many people that access Wikipedia, millions of people, and they kind of police themselves, meaning that they make sure information is accurate. So Wikipedia is a good source, but I would not use it as my primary source. Your teachers may not want you to use it at all. So the summary, we looked at Microsoft Help, Microsoft website for help, and some internet-based help we talked about. So a review of all this stuff: operating systems for this whole unit, this systems unit, social search, search engines, blue screen of death, intellectual property, etc. Finally, you have the unit exam. And of course, I'll have the exam preview listed over here for you, but I didn't see assignment 3. Where did I miss that? Assignment 3, okay, that's the piracy. Okay, good, so we covered that. So the Unit 10 exam, I'll have the exam preview posted over here for you. And then of course the Class Connect write-up, you'll submit that, and I'll have the recording posted for you. Then finally you have the semester exam. I'll have the preview of the semester exam. I'll have that posted for you too. So that's the end of the class. And I just want to go in here. Let me make sure I have in week 9. Does it say semester exam? Yes, it does say semester exam. Good. Okay, so for this week, you're going to do assignment 1, which is 20 points, assignment 2, which is 20 points, assignment 3, which is 20 points, unit exam, semester exam. So it could be an easy 120 points for this week. Okay, everybody, I look forward to your work coming in. Work hard. If you need anything, let me know, but the last of the work can be submitted Friday night, March 15th. I suggest you get it turned in by March 13th in case you need to revise it. Okay, thanks everybody. Talk to you soon.